what is ERA, first of all? For anyone who's not familiar, ERA is ESET's Remote Administrator. This is the management server for all endpoint products that ESET offers. This management is installed on Windows. It even includes a virtual appliance for very quick and easy deployment. So you can take it and import it into any hypervisor that you might have. It's also available on the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. So if you want a cloud management server, it's very, very simple. You have a Microsoft Azure account, and then you go to the Marketplace, and you can quickly stand up a management server contained in Microsoft Azure's Marketplace. But the management server manages all of the ESET endpoint products from a single web-based console. Some things that you want to check is you want to know your ESET Remote Administrator version. So you can check this by clicking the About button at the top right of your ESET Remote Administrator server. You also want to check what version of the ESET Remote Administrator agent is installed on every endpoint. And you can find this within the management server. You can also see what version of the endpoint software is installed on every endpoint. And right now, our newest version of our management server is version 6.5, and the version of the agent is 6.6. So we have some extra features in ERA that lots of people don't realize that we actually have. So we have asset management, we have software management, update management, user notification, communication, and then we have the ability to troubleshoot users' computers directly. And we'll go through a little bit more about each of these extra features that are contained in the management server. So first, asset management. Asset management allows you to track lots of different things about all of the different computers in your organization. So you can track the manufacturer, the model. You can track the OS information. You can track things like serial numbers, monitor hard drive disk space, and even monitor plugged-in devices. So you can do a lot more than just manage the AV when it's just talking about asset management. When it comes to software management, the ESET Remote Administrator server has the ability to track installed software and their versions. So you can generate full reports on all of the different applications installed in your environment. So you can see all the different versions of Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Flash. And then within the management server, you can automate the install and uninstall of all of those applications and even execute command line scripts. So anything that you could execute from the endpoint directly, you can execute directly from the management server on those remote computers anywhere that they might be. We also have the ability to do software management, especially when it comes to operating system updates. You can initiate recommended or recommended and optional OS updates directly from the management server. Then you can have it automatically reboot when it's done, or you can schedule reboots at a different point in time. Maybe you want it to happen every week on Friday at 5 o'clock. So you can schedule all of that directly within our management server. Then finally, the last component is user notification and communication. This is especially helpful when tied with the previous things we just saw, because you can notify users about downtime, notify them when they might violate a company policy. So you can pop up something on their screen, letting them know something's going to happen before it actually happens. And then we have the ability to also troubleshoot computers directly from the ESET Remote Administrator server. Typically, if a user calls you and says that they have a problem with their computer, your first step is to go to that computer, log on, and then see what might be happening. But now your first step can be to troubleshoot the computers from the ESET Remote Administrator server. And you can do this by leveraging what we call SysInspector. And SysInspector is built into all of the ESET endpoint products. And so directly from the ESET management server, you can see all of the running processes on a remote device, their registry key. You can see the system event logs. And you can even view all of the network connections without leaving the ESET management server at all. So now you have the ability to get a lot of troubleshooting and diagnostic information without having to kick the user off the computer and without having to remote into their computer at all. Then you can make some decisions about what might be going wrong afterwards. So, tips and tricks and shortcuts. So, when it comes to asset management, there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things that we see companies do, such as they'll apply different policies when on-premise versus off-premise. They'll also define device control rules within ESET, which are ways that we can control which devices can be plugged into systems, like flash drives or cell phones. And people will define device control rules based off the logged-in user to that computer. We can also send notifications to the user or a report when the hard drive is running out of space. So maybe the user isn't saving things on the network drives like maybe they should be. With software management, we can do a lot of different things around software management, such as send alerts or reports when someone installs a particular program. Maybe they installed something they shouldn't on their computer. We could pop up something letting them know they shouldn't have done that. Then we can automatically uninstall that unapproved application from their system. And then, of course, execute command line scripts. So anything that you might want to run on that remote computer, you can run directly from the management server. When it comes to update management, ESET's Remote Administrator server has what's called dynamic groups. And dynamic groups can identify device identifiable information and automatically sort and report computers based off that information. So you can use a dynamic group to go ahead and show all of the computers that have not been updated. So which computers have not received the most recent Windows update. Then on Friday at 3 p.m., send a notification alerting users not to shut down their computer. Then finally at 5 p.m., execute the operating system update, then reboot the computer when complete. So once you set this process up once, you never have to set it up again or worry about it again. So it greatly lessens the amount of administrative time that IT administrators need to spend in their environment. Another one is user notification. So when it comes to user notification, you can use those same dynamic groups to identify when that unapproved software is installed. So any sort of software that you might not want users to utilize, you can create rules within the management server to identify it. Then you can pop up notifications on their screen alerting them that they violated company policy. And then finally, automatically uninstall the unapproved applications. Then the final one is troubleshooting computers. So when it comes to troubleshooting computers, you can automatically initiate a sysinspector log to be taken after a computer is re-imaged or after it connects into the management server for the first time. Then when a user calls you and complains that the computer is running slow, you can execute another sysinspector log. And ESET has the ability to compare those two sysinspector logs and show you exactly what has changed over that period of time. So you can see maybe they installed some application that might be causing the slowdown. Or maybe they have some weird registry keys associated with some applications in there. So you can see all of that directly from the management server by executing multiple sysinspector logs. For more information about these tips and tricks, in that resource list towards the top right, there are 2 webinars in there. One is called Do More with ESET Remote Administrator Server, and another one is called Do Even More. Both of those webinars go even more in depth on how to do each one of these things. They show you kind of step by step how you would implement lots of these things in your environment. So I definitely recommend checking out those webinars as well.